Ethan Rourke's cockpit hummed with the usual drone of engines and screens, a comforting rhythm he had flown by for years. Then suddenly silence swallowed him. Not just the radio chatter, not just the engine warnings, everything. The world outside and inside felt dead. His fingers flew over controls but nothing responded. No warnings, no beeps, no movement from the instruments. Just a flat, empty line. Control? Anyone? His voice trembled slightly. No response. Nothing. Panic pricked at him. He wasn't used to losing control, but now the very signals that connected Earth, the satellites that watched every inch of the planet, had gone dark. He glanced out at the clouds below, trying to find a familiar landmark. That's when he saw it. A faint glow flickering through the mist, a translucent figure moving in impossible arcs. It wasn't a bird, not a plane, nothing Ethan had ever seen. Its edges shimmered like liquid glass, pulsing with color he couldn't name. For a heartbeat, curiosity fought with fear. Then the creature shot forward, faster than light seemed to allow. His cockpit lights flickered violently, warning alarms failing to trigger. Something slammed into his console. Sparks flew. The screen showing his navigation grid exploded in a tiny burst of fire. Instinct took over. He grabbed the manual override, forcing the engines to roar to life. "Hang on," he muttered, his jaw tight. His mind raced. If the instruments were dead, if the world had gone silent, if something impossible, was out there, he couldn't wait for answers. He had to act. The glow followed him as he descended through clouds, weaving like a predator or maybe a guide. It stopped just short of the treetops, hovering, almost examining him. Ethan's pulse hammered in his ears. Every instinct screamed danger, but he couldn't look away. The ground rose too fast. He yanked on the yoke, trying to pull up, but the usual responsiveness lagged. Trees tore past his canopy like dark knives. His landing gear had to deploy manually. Sweat stung his eyes, but he forced his focus. One wrong move, and Earth would take his life before he even understood what had happened. The landing was rough. The tires skidded across cracked asphalt, sending stones flying. Ethan slammed the brakes, his chest heaving, eyes locked on the glowing figure. It floated down beside him now, motionless, almost expectant. He dared a cautious approach. "What are you?" His voice was low, trembling with awe. The creature's pulse shifted colors in response. Ethan felt something strange, an almost emotional echo in the air. He reached out, hand shaking. The creature recoiled at first, then mirrored his motion. It was studying him as much as he was studying it. A sudden vibration through the ground startled him. His instruments, what was left of them, flickered to life. A repeating signal blinked on the main console. The message was simple but enormous. A pulse that spanned the planet, precise, intelligent, and terrifying. Someone, or something, was sending a signal that all of Earth had been silent until now. Ethan's stomach twisted. If this signal had gone unnoticed, the consequences could be unthinkable. And if this creature was linked to it, Earth was in far more danger than anyone had imagined. He took a cautious step back as the creature pulsed brighter, almost warning him. A roar tore through the sky, metallic, guttural, unnatural. It came from above, a shadow moving faster than any plane, a shape too massive to be mistaken for a bird. Ethan's eyes widened. This wasn't a normal flight anomaly. This was something bigger. Far bigger. The creature shivered, almost anxiously. Its glow deepened, casting eerie light over Ethan's face. He realized he had a choice. Stand frozen and wait for answers, or act now when hesitation could mean death. Gripping the yoke, Ethan climbed back into his cockpit. Sparks crackled around him, screens flickering, but he forced himself forward. The world was silent. Satellites dead. Signals stopped. And above, whatever shadow moved, he couldn't see clearly. "All right," he whispered, voice tight with fear and determination. "Let's find out who, or what, decided to make Earth fall silent." As he took off again, the creature zipped alongside, matching his maneuvers in ways that defied physics. For a brief moment, fear mingled with awe. Whatever this being was, it had brought him here for a reason. Then a sharp pulse from the glowing figure sent a shock through the cockpit, knocking him against the controls. Screens flashed strange symbols he couldn't read, and his heartbeat spiked. The signal wasn't just random. It was deliberate, urgent. Something was coming, and Earth had no time to prepare. Ethan's fingers clenched on the yoke. He swallowed hard. One thought surged through his mind. If Earth has fallen silent, it's not by accident. And now I'm the first to answer the call. And then, without warning, the sky ahead tore open with a light too bright, too fast. A shape emerged from it, a colossal, impossible form shimmering with energy. Ethan's breath caught. Whatever this was, it was awake, and it had noticed him. The world was silent, but it wasn't empty. Ethan's fingers shook on the yoke as he soared above the fractured city. Sparks still hissed from the cockpit, but he forced himself to stay calm. Every instinct screamed that the glowing creature was more than a guide, it was a warning. He glanced down at the blinking pulse on the console. The signal was spreading, reaching beyond Earth. And now, something else was responding. He wasn't imagining it. Far above, the sky seemed to warp. Shadows moved with impossible speed. Metallic shapes tore through the atmosphere, ships of alien design, sleek and deadly, hovering silently above major cities. Their engines didn't roar, they glimmered with energy that bent light. Hundreds of them. The galaxy was watching, and humanity had just announced itself alive. Control? Ethan's voice cracked over the empty channel. No one answered. Earth's silence had made him the first to act, and now he was the first to witness the consequences. The ships didn't fire, not yet. They were assessing, calculating. And he realized with a sudden jolt that any wrong move could trigger a war he didn't understand. The glowing creature zipped ahead, pulsing brighter. Its light reflected off the alien hulls as if trying to communicate. Ethan leaned forward, heart pounding. If it could interact with them, maybe he could too. He adjusted the console, forcing a broadcast. A simple human pulse, carefully timed, surged into the sky. He had no idea if it would register, but he had to try. One ship tilted slightly, scanning him. The alien energy glowed brighter as if acknowledging the signal. Ethan's stomach nodded. They weren't attacking, but they weren't leaving either. He was standing at a crossroads. Any hesitation could doom Earth. He took a deep breath and tapped into his emergency programming, synchronizing his broadcast with the remaining satellites that still functioned. Every second counted. Below, civilians ran in panic. Streets flooded with chaos as the city system struggled under the unexpected interference from the pulse. Ethan's pulse throbbed along with the creature's glow. Its form hovered next to him, almost impatient. He realized it wasn't just observing, it was guiding, showing him the way to make contact with these unknown forces. Suddenly, a shard of alien light pierced the clouds near him. He yanked the yoke, barely dodging a ship's probe which zipped past, scanning, measuring. Sparks from his console sparked, and warning lights flashed red. Panic surged, but Ethan gritted his teeth. He had survived worse, and Earth's silence demanded courage, not fear. He transmitted a voice message, simple, human, and clear. We are alive. Earth is not silent by choice. We seek life. We seek peace. The alien ships froze, their pulses echoing across the atmosphere, almost as if they were listening. The glowing creature flared in response, the pulse synchronizing with Ethan's signal. For a moment, the world felt as if it held its breath. Then, a subtle vibration ran through the ground beneath him. He glanced down, eyes widening. The signal wasn't just reaching alien ships, it was awakening something deeper. Underground energy grids pulsed erratically, reflecting the rhythm of the broadcast. The city flickered with light, like Earth itself was responding to the creature. Ethan realized the truth. The pulse was more than a message. It was a declaration. Humanity had made its stand. A sudden flash tore across the horizon, a massive object streaking toward Earth, faster than any meteor, brighter than the sun. Ethan's stomach dropped. The alien ships shifted, almost in unison, forming a defensive perimeter around the planet. He gripped the yoke tighter. Whatever was coming, Earth would not face it alone, but his role was far from over. The creature pulsed violently, almost screaming without sound. It darted toward the streaking object, weaving through the alien ships, leaving trails of brilliant light. Ethan followed instinctively, maneuvering his craft in tandem. The air hummed with energy, charged and unstable. He realized that he was witnessing something historic. The galaxy had noticed Earth, and his actions were the first spark. "Hold together," he muttered, voice tight. "Just hold together until I figure this out." He felt the weight of responsibility crush him, but he also felt determination harden inside him. Every choice, every pulse of light, every signal, this was humanity's chance to survive. Suddenly, one of the alien ships emitted a piercing wave of energy directly at him. Instinct and courage collided. Ethan twisted the yoke, dodging the blast by inches. Sparks rained across his cockpit. The creature zipped beside him, shielding him, its glow flaring like a warning beacon. Earth's first defense wasn't a weapon. It was human courage, amplified by alien curiosity. As he stabilized, the pulse from the signal shifted, faster, stronger, almost like a heartbeat. The alien ships responded in kind, their lights flickering in patterns he couldn't read. Something was forming, a connection, a fragile trust. But Ethan knew it could shatter in an instant. Then the streaking object, bigger than any he had imagined, suddenly altered course. It was not aiming at Earth directly. It paused in orbit as if sensing the new signals. Ethan's heart raced. Was it intelligence? Was it aware? He didn't have time to analyze. Every second mattered. The glowing creature zipped to his side and flared brightly. For a brief, stunning moment, Ethan felt hope and terror combine. Humanity's silence had been broken. The galaxy was awake. And what came next would test the limits of human courage in ways no one had survived before. The pulse on his console intensified suddenly, more urgent than ever. Ethan's eyes widened. This was not just a warning anymore. Something was approaching, something that could not be ignored. And Earth had only seconds to prepare. Ethan's breath came in shallow gasps as he circled above the city. The alien ships held formation, still hovering like statues of light, but their energy pulses suggested unease. The streaking object, massive and impossibly bright, hovered above the horizon, holding its position. Ethan's mind raced. Earth's silence had been broken and the galaxy was watching. But this was bigger than any broadcast, any signal, any plan he had. He looked at the glowing creature beside him. It flared again, pulsing like it understood his thoughts. Ethan realized it wasn't just a guide, it was a key. If he could connect with it, amplify its energy, maybe he could send a message the object couldn't ignore. But how? One human alone, even with alien attention, could not reach the scale required. He needed a way to make Earth itself participate. His eyes darted to the flickering energy grids below. The city's power lines were unstable, feeding off the pulses he had triggered. Every generator, every electrical node could become a conductor, a way to amplify his signal. But synchronizing them manually was impossible. Then an idea struck, a gamble with no margin for error. He tapped into the city's central control network through his emergency override. Alarms blared, warning lights flashed, but he ignored them. One by one, the city's energy nodes synced with the creature's pulse. The pattern spread, a heartbeat flowing through power lines, through water pumps, through street lamps. The city itself began to glow faintly, vibrating with life. The alien ships shifted in response, their lights flickering faster, analyzing. Ethan's pulse matched theirs, a language of survival that no one had taught him. He felt the creature merge closer, its glow synchronizing with the human-made grid. It was a gamble, but it had to work. Suddenly, a shard of energy shot from the massive object above. It struck a building nearby, sending a wave of heat and debris into the air. Ethan twisted the yoke, narrowly avoiding the falling wreckage. Panic surged around him, but he forced his mind back to the task. Fear could not win here, only courage, only action. Hold together, he muttered. We're not done yet. The glowing creature pulsed violently, and for a brief moment, it entered a form Ethan could barely comprehend. Its light spread into the power grid, and the entire city lit up like a circuit board. The alien ships recoiled slightly, energy rippling from their hulls as if they were measuring the scale. Ethan realized he was speaking a language of power, not words. Humanity's presence was becoming visible to a scale no being had ignored before. Then came the first sign of change. The massive object twitched, hesitated in the sky, as though it were aware of the new signal. Ethan's stomach clenched. It wasn't hostile, yet, but it was intelligent. Something had noticed him, the city and the creature. It was calculating, testing. Every second he hesitated, Earth remained vulnerable. He sent another pulse, modulating it faster, weaving patterns through the power grid. It reached beyond Earth's orbit, brushing the alien ships, touching the massive object. The creature flared brighter than ever, the glow almost blinding inside the cockpit. Ethan's hands shook as he maintained the pattern, synchronizing with a precision he had never imagined possible. Then a tremor ran through the city. Buildings groaned as power surged unevenly. Ethan gritted his teeth, resisting the urge to pull back. The gamble was working. The pulse was reaching farther, stronger, but Earth was straining under the stress. Suddenly, one of the alien ships moved closer, emitting a beam toward Ethan. He twisted violently, dodging debris and sparks. The creature darted to intercept, flaring its light between them. The alien ship recoiled, almost startled. Ethan realized the pulse was not only a message but a shield. Courage and intelligence, amplified by Earth itself, were giving them a chance. A vibration shivered through the cockpit. Ethan's eyes widened as the creature's glow expanded into a massive projection, like a hologram stretching into the sky. The city, the alien ships, the approaching object, everything vibrated with it. For the first time, he saw the outline of the entity, vast, shimmering, almost formless, yet intelligent. It wasn't a weapon, it was a predator, a being of pure energy, scanning, assessing, deciding. Ethan's pulse accelerated, feeding more energy into the network. The city pulsed like a living heart, and the creature merged fully with his broadcast. He realized something shocking. The entity wasn't attacking. It was pausing. It was watching. His gamble had worked. Humanity's ingenuity, courage, and sheer determination had earned the creature's attention. But the victory was fragile. One misstep, one miscalculation, and the entity could consume everything. Ethan felt exhaustion claw at him, fear creeping back, but he forced his focus. Every pattern, every pulse, every flicker mattered. The galaxy was watching Earth fight in its first stand. Then, unexpectedly, the massive object shivered violently and recoiled slightly, almost like a living thing startled by a heartbeat. Ethan's eyes narrowed. That wasn't enough. He had bought time, but he hadn't won. Something still loomed, a choice he had yet to see. The creature pulsed again, but this time it didn't just glow. It emitted a sharp, almost deafening ripple through the cockpit. Ethan's heart stopped. The message was clear. The next step would demand everything. Not just skill, but courage, ingenuity, and sacrifice. He swallowed hard and gripped the controls. "All right," he whispered. "Let's finish this, together." Above, the entity twitched again, immense and terrifying, its intent still unknown. The galaxy had noticed. And now, Earth's survival depended entirely on the human courage that had sparked it all. Ethan's breath was ragged as he hovered above the city, eyes locked on the colossal entity above the horizon. It shimmered like molten energy, stretching farther than any human imagination. The alien ships had formed a protective ring around Earth, but even their combined power seemed insignificant against this being. It moved with intent, indifferent to the world below, a predator that measured life like a puzzle. Every second he hesitated, Earth's survival teetered on the edge. The glowing creature zipped beside him, brighter than ever, pulsing like a beacon. Ethan realized it had become more than a guide. It was a bridge. A bridge between human ingenuity and something far beyond comprehension. Sweat stung his eyes as he adjusted the power flow through the city's grids, amplifying the pulses that had momentarily caught the entity's attention. "Hold on, old friend," he muttered, speaking to the creature, to himself, to the city. "We're not giving up now." The entity's gaze, or whatever passed for perception, shifted toward him. A wave of pressure rippled through the atmosphere, knocking debris into the air. Ethan gritted his teeth and forced his ship forward, weaving through the alien fleet. He had no weapons that could harm it. All he had was strategy, courage, and a pulse. He tapped into the city's emergency network again, this time integrating alien sensor data. Sparks flew inside the cockpit as systems overloaded, but he ignored them. Every light, every grid, every antenna became part of a living network, a human heartbeat amplified across the planet and into orbit. The entity paused mid-flight, reacting to the synchrony, its massive form quivering. Then it struck. A wave of pure energy blasted toward the city. Buildings shook violently. Ethan twisted his yoke, dodging the brunt of the impact, but he wasn't just avoiding it. He was drawing the wave toward the creature, toward the energy pulse he had built. The creature flared, merging with the wave, and for a moment, the two forces collided in a brilliant flash. Light filled the sky, blinding, radiant, almost unbearable. Ethan felt himself lifted by the surge, his craft trembling violently. The alien ships recoiled, energy flaring from their hulls as if astonished by the display. Humanity's courage had forced recognition. But the entity wasn't retreating, it was assessing, probing, calculating the limits of their defiance. Sweat and fear battled determination inside Ethan, but he forced clarity. He realized that the only way to survive was to make the entity understand humanity was alive, aware, and not just clever but capable of cooperation on a planetary scale. A single heartbeat could not convince it. The city, the networks, the alien allies, everything had to resonate as one message: life, intelligence, determination. Ethan adjusted the pulse pattern, this time integrating his own neural interface. His thoughts, his determination, his will flowed through the grids, through the creature, through every signal. The entity shivered again, pausing mid-flight. He was inside its awareness now, riding the edge of incomprehensible energy. Fear screamed, but he forced courage to dominate. Every ounce of humanity he represented had to shine through. Then came the moment of risk. The entity pulsed violently, a counterforce that could obliterate the city. Ethan screamed through the controls, redirecting the energy back through the grids. Sparks erupted everywhere. Buildings shuddered. Streets cracked under the strain. For a heartbeat, it felt like Earth itself might fracture under the pressure. But the creature flared, joining his effort, and the pulse stabilized. Ethan's eyes widened. The entity hesitated, quivering, almost as if curiosity had replaced hostility. He pushed further, integrating a new tactic, alien technology now working in tandem with human engineering. Sensors flared, networks synchronized, and the pulse expanded, touching every corner of the planet and beyond. It wasn't just a message. It was proof. Proof that humans were alive, aware, and capable of ingenuity that even the galaxy had underestimated. The entity recoiled slightly, then paused. For a moment Ethan could swear it was listening, watching, understanding. His chest heaved as the creature pulsed brighter than ever, a ripple of light flowing from it into the entity's form. Humanity's heartbeat, courage, and intelligence had forced the impossible, attention from a being that could have destroyed the planet without thought. But just as relief flickered, a deep vibration ran through the city. Ethan's stomach dropped. The entity's form shimmered, splitting into multiple pulses, almost like it was testing limits. One miscalculation and the delicate synchronization would collapse, and Earth would be nothing more than ash. Sweat stung his eyes. He gritted his teeth and held the pattern, letting every instinct guide his fingers, his thoughts, his pulse. Then suddenly the entity halted, towering above the planet in stillness. Its form pulsed softly, almost reverently. Ethan realized he had done it, not destroyed, not defeated, but survived. And more, humanity had announced itself to the galaxy not through weapons, but through courage, intelligence, and unity. A low hum filled the cockpit. The glowing creature pulsed one last time beside him, then darted upward, merging partially with the entity, leaving a faint trail of energy that seemed like gratitude. Ethan's chest heaved. He had risked everything. Earth had survived. The impossible had been achieved. But then, far above, a flash of movement caught his eye. Something distant, larger than the entity, seemed to pulse in the darkness beyond the stars. Ethan's heart sank. The galaxy had noticed humanity, but the real test, whatever was waiting in the unknown, had only just begun. He swallowed hard and gripped the controls. "We've survived, for now," he whispered, voice tight with awe and fear. "But something is coming. And next time it won't wait to test us." The entity shimmered, paused, then slowly receded, leaving Earth intact, but a warning hung in the air. Humanity had shown, but the cosmos had more eyes than ever before. And whatever came next, Ethan knew one thing: humans would face it with courage, intelligence, and unwavering determination. Ethan Rourke hovered above the city, chest heaving, eyes wide with disbelief. The colossal entity had receded, dissolving into the stars like a ripple fading from water, but the sky still shimmered with residual energy. Alien ships lingered, hovering silently in orbit, their sleek forms reflecting the light of Earth's repaired pulse network. Humanity had survived the impossible. For a moment, the world seemed suspended, a fragile heartbeat in the vast galaxy. The streets below were battered, power grids strained, and fires burned, but people were moving, alive, resilient. Emergency signals had resumed. Ethan's pulse calmed slightly, but he knew this was not a moment for celebration. The galaxy had noticed Earth, and what had arrived was only the beginning. Beside him, the glowing creature pulsed softly, almost like it was breathing. Ethan had come to understand it, not as a weapon, not as a threat, but as a being of pure communication. Every flicker of its light had been a lesson in connection, courage, and intelligence. It had trusted him, and through that trust, humanity had announced itself to forces beyond comprehension. He exhaled slowly, scanning the horizon. Alien ships were departing in formations, leaving behind small nodes in orbit, scanning but not attacking. Humanity had earned a fragile truce, a chance to exist in a galaxy that now knew it was awake. Yet, the looming sense of vigilance remained. The massive entity might have withdrawn, but it had left an imprint, a reminder that survival depended on readiness, creativity, and courage. Ethan's console beeped, faintly at first, then steadily. He tapped into the city network, sending simple messages: "Earth is alive. Humanity stands. We are ready to learn, to defend, and to cooperate." Below, people were coming together, repairing power lines, helping the injured, moving with instinctive courage that had shown through the crisis. He realized the greatest strength of humanity wasn't technology or weapons, it was the willingness to act when everything else failed. The glowing creature hovered closer, pulsing in time with his heartbeat. Ethan reached out instinctively. It shimmered, almost acknowledging his courage, then darted toward the stars. He followed with his eyes, feeling a strange sense of both loss and accomplishment. Their connection had been temporary, a bridge across the impossible, but it had changed him and the world forever. Across the city, emergency broadcasts resumed, recounting the events with disbelief and awe. Reports of alien observation, of the colossal entity, of the pulses that had linked humans, city, and creature into a single living signal filled the screens. Ethan realized the impact was already spreading, not just on Earth but potentially to the far reaches of space where the alien fleets would report back. Humanity had made a mark that could not be ignored. He landed near a partially collapsed tower, boots hitting the cracked asphalt with a dull thud. People were helping one another, pulling debris, sharing water and supplies. The fear was still there, but it was accompanied by a sense of awe. Humans had faced something unimaginable and had survived through ingenuity, courage, and unity. He felt a surge of pride, tempered by exhaustion. A sudden ripple of light caught his eye in the distance, far beyond the city where the atmosphere met space. His pulse quickened. It wasn't the massive entity, it was something different, far larger, moving slowly, purposefully. The galaxy's attention was not just on Earth. It was shifting, expanding, and whatever came next would be more aware, more calculated. Ethan's jaw tightened. This was the beginning of something far greater. He looked down at the console, watching the energy pulse fade into stability. Humanity had won this day, but the lessons were clear. Courage mattered, intelligence mattered, empathy mattered, and above all, action mattered when the odds seemed impossible. He had acted decisively, trusted his instincts, and leveraged every ounce of ingenuity to survive. Earth was alive, and humans had shown that they were not to be underestimated. A soft chime echoed from the console, a faint transmission from deep space. Symbols he couldn't read blinked in patterns that suggested intelligence, acknowledgement, and perhaps curiosity. Ethan swallowed hard. Whatever it was observing, waiting. The galaxy had not forgotten them. Humanity's actions had been a spark, but the fire was only beginning. He exhaled slowly and looked up at the night sky. Stars glittered, serene yet alive with energy and potential. Humanity had survived the first wave, but the universe was vast, unpredictable, and full of beings far older, wiser, and more powerful. Yet, for the first time, Ethan realized something profound. Humans had courage. Humans had intelligence. Humans had empathy. And for all the odds against them, humans had determination that no force could easily break. The glowing pulse in his mind, the city, the creature, the signals, faded into memory, leaving a lasting impression. Humanity had not only survived, they had declared themselves to the galaxy boldly and with integrity. Whatever came next, Earth would stand. Ethan turned to face the remnants of the city below, feeling a heavy but proud weight on his shoulders. The galaxy had noticed humanity, yes, but humans had shown that they could shine even in silence. And beyond the stars, in the darkness of space, something waited. Something massive, something aware, something that had taken note of Earth's courage. He clenched his fists, jaw tight, heart steady. Humanity had survived today, but tomorrow the test would return, larger, more dangerous. And he would be ready. Humans were ready. Above, faint sparks flickered in orbit, signals, probes, questions. The galaxy had noticed, but it had also begun to watch. Ethan whispered to the empty air, "We're alive. And we'll never be silent again." The stars pulsed faintly as if acknowledging him. And somewhere beyond, the larger mystery waited, patient and immense, promising that the story had only just begun.